You guys, welcome to an all new week. This is your pop culture roundup, and this is going to be a little more Bravo specified because we have one of my favorite guests back on with us. I think, you know what? I don't think it was a crazy night for her last night. So I think you are getting potentially a fresh Block by Jax today. That's right. Our guest today is one of the funniest people I've met online. Her Bravo takes are chef's kiss. So let's jump right into it because we have a lot of Bravo to cover. You know her as, I know her as Jennifer, but you guys know her as Blocked by Jax at blocked_by_Jax. Welcome back, Blocked by Jax. How are you doing?
Good. You're right. I'm fresh faced today. Little
yeah.
pip in my
You didn't go out last night?
I saw the Mean Girls movie. Actually, pretty tame night.
Wait, so the Mean Girls movie, by the way, is #1 at the box office. It made $31 million this weekend, which is insane because I think like Wonka didn't even make that much the opening weekend or something like that. And that has Kylie Jenner's boyfriend in it. What did you think of the Mean Girls movie?
So I really liked it, but then I'm seeing online everyone's like, oh my God, but I feel like people didn't know it was a musical. And I'm like, how the fuck didn't you know it's a musical? So like when the lights were going off last night after the trailers, I was like, it's a musical.
Wait, you're one of the people in the movies that screams things out. You're like, hey, wait, so I hear this a lot about musical movies that people feel like they're tricked into seeing them. And I feel like, grow up, everybody. Like, are people really that scared of musicals that it ruins their night?
But I'm like, how did you not know it was a musical? Like, and the girls next to me who were like the 10-year-old Sephora girls were like, they had their Stanley cups. And when I sat down, he had her Stanley cup in my cup holder. I was like, no, bitch, get that out of here. And they were like recording the movie like on their phone. I was like, what are you like selling this? Like, and they left 20 minutes in. I was like, oh, they totally went on TikTok and was like, didn't know it was a musical. Like, and then,
oh my God.
You know, but they left a full thing of popcorn. I was like, okay.
Wait, so you're admitting you ate their popcorn? That's amazing. See, I appreciate you because I would also eat a full, if somebody left popcorn, that's free popcorn. But a lot of people think that's.
It was like 20 minutes into the movie. And then when I realized they weren't coming back, I was like, fuck that.
Well, I don't understand that because people obviously listen to songs and music. Why is it so bad when you put it into a movie and make it why is that so bad for people?
And if like you don't like that, then don't go. Like, I feel like they knew it was a musical. They just wanted to make a TikTok being like, what? Like,
well, you brought up something else actually interesting that I wasn't planning on talking about, but the Stanley Cup culture is out of control. I was reading this whole article that Stanley rebranded and kind of like teen girls and women have really made their company such a huge success in a way they didn't plan over the last couple of years. Are you part of Stanley Cup culture? It's like, guys, it's these, you obviously know they're these huge, what are they like? Just beverage mugs?
Yeah, I have like the fake Stanley Cup, but
on Canal Street. Did you go to Canal Street and buy fake Stanleys?
Yep, it's like a Stanley, but like I just will never understand the hype. Like I saw the whole thing with Target and like them selling a red one and like a pink one, and people were like murdering people for one. And I'll never understand that. And my friend was like, well, like it keeps your ice cold, like for a whole day. And I'm like, okay, like I work from home and my freezer is like 2 steps behind me. Like if I could just get more ice.
That's like people hate musicals, but they need ice to be cold 24 hours a day. It makes no sense at all. And I did see, like I saw a video, I think it was over the holidays, of they had a Starbucks launch of a new Stanley Cup, and this man like tried to steal a whole box of them.
Going insane.
I mean, that's who I think I don't think Stanley Cup culture has hit Bravo yet, but I think Angie K would be a great Stanley Cup collector, don't you think?
I agree. I think I could see it.
Yeah, like big glasses, big Stanley Cups, like that's her whole season 5.
Stanley Cup with like the fake like Gucci symbol all over it, or like a fake Louis Vuitton, like all those outfits. Like I could see that.
Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, we had the first reunion this week, and it's coming off the heels of the reality Von Tease. So, Jennifer, what do you think about all of this to begin with? About reality Von Tease and then the reunion?
That was like insane. I mean, I love it, and I feel like this was finally a finale that Andy like hyped up or whatever, and it actually lived up to like his tweets.
Yeah, no, it did. He always hypes things up, and then he always kind of like fibs a little bit. It's never as exciting as Andy says it's going to be, but this actually was.
Right. Like, I had trust issues with Salt Lake City after last year with the black eye thing. Like, I was really not, I had zero expectations this season. And
yeah, me too.
Like, I'm sad though, because like, can Monica come back? Like, I don't know
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Where do you stand on the Monica of it all? Because it seems like it's divided a lot of the Bravo fan base. They all agree that it's an amazing season, but the big question is, a lot of people are like, no, she does not deserve to come back. She shouldn't come back. This is betrayal. And then I'm kind of more of the mind of, let her come back and hang herself more if she wants. Like, let's watch that fallout.
Right. Like, I think she deserves to come back. She like made the whole season. Like, from beginning to end, I think she delivered and did a great job. And I just don't want it to turn into like a Candace situation where if she comes back, no one talks to her, no one wants anything to do with her, because I feel like that could really fuck up the whole dynamic of the show.
You're, of course, talking about Candace from Potomac, which that has happened. And Potomac now is almost... Yeah, the Monique Candace situation. We had the binder brought out at their reunion with Monique, and we're still dealing with fallout where, Potomac is now not even having that great of a season this year.
Yeah, they're not doing a great season, but I just don't want it to turn into them like ostracizing Monica and not filming with her and like that whole thing, because that just makes shit TV, like when that happens.
But also, don't you think one of those ladies is going to wise up and go, I want her back because it gives us something to react to. Like, it gives us something to play into. And that's the thing, is that, Heather can act like she is Queen Bee and she'll be able to react. Like, it's good for all of those ladies there if Monica is back. I think that's actually good. And also, I want to delve deeper into this mystery of the reality Von Tease of it all, because she's saying at the end of last week's reunion, there was like 5 or 6 people involved. And then Koa, Jen Shah's old designer, who was a part of reality Von Tease. Did you watch his Instagram stories where he broke down who all was involved in reality Von Tease?
I saw people post it. And so it was like definitely a team effort. So I feel like all the blame can't be just solely on Monica. Like, she was definitely part of it. But I mean, we need to know more. Like, I want to know everything about it. And I do, like, she needs to come back. And with the way she left off in the finale being like, there's more. And like, Yola want to know. Like, I need to know all of it.
Well, okay, I mean, but at the end of the day, I think it's so funny that we are like, clutching our pearls over this, because I'm like, wait a sec. We're both like meme accounts. We both have like had memes that have like been pretty cutting, pretty damaging. Do you think the Salt Lake ladies are scared of us? Do you think it seems like they are so scared of anything. Are they really this scared of reality Von Tease?
I know Heather's like, we couldn't, like, we woke up in fear, like, every day.
I was like, you had an actual criminal giving you a black eye, but you woke up in fear.
Like, a murderer was like coming to their house, or like the end of the world. Like, you can't wake up because like reality Von Tease, like, and I mean, like, the way that Heather said it was like Ted Bundy was gonna come over or something. Like,
well, and Meredith, when will people leave us alone? When will they leave us alone? And it's like, wait, you're on a reality show. If you're not on the reality show, people will guaranteed leave you alone.
Exactly. I know. Like, I can't live like this. Like,
I'm not a monster. It's wild.
Humans. I know.
Well, so leading into the reunion, my thing was like, what is your take on Heather revealing the black eye, which to me was like huge, but the Monica thing is supposedly the really bad thing. But to me, I'm like, all the stuff they're yelling at Monica about, I feel like I'm gypped in the conversation of everybody yelling at Jen in that group, which they're all so scared of Jen. Do you understand anything more than me where like, I don't understand why they're so precious with Jen and they're so comfortable taking down Monica now?
It's so weird. It really is. And like, I do think they're all terrified of Jen, which I mean, I might be too. Like, she's kind of scary.
Oh, 100%.
But it's like, I agree. Like, it's all getting buried under the Monica stuff now. Like, now we can't even concentrate on that part, even though I am so sick of the black eye narrative. But I mean, like, obviously Jen's in prison. What is she going to do? Like, they're like, haha, we're going to like reveal it all. And like in 5 years, you can come like beat the shit out of us or something. But, like maybe you'll forget by then. But I just love how Jen is like part of this narrative from prison too. Like she's chirping in.
Oh, she loves it. She loves it. And also it's a way for Jen to show us that she hasn't changed at all. Like she's calling out people from jail. And I was like, this isn't going to look good when you eventually get to the parole committee, you know?
Right. Can't you picture her like on one of the payphones and they're like, okay, now type this. Say on my story that like
you son of a bitch. Like her pranking Beauty Lab and Laser, you know, like I want to do $1 million gift certificate. Yeah, just start making those. I'll give you the credit card.
I feel like, do you accept this call from like an inmate at like
well, yeah, she has the lady from Theranos make the calls for her who she's in prison with. I'm calling on behalf of Jen Shaw. It's me, Elizabeth Holmes. I'd like to buy but that's what makes the show so good is this is all so ridiculous. And even like the show has captured the ridiculousness and then the outside stuff behind it is really, truly ridiculous as well. I'm just curious what we will see now in these next 2 reunion episodes because they're going to bring Mary Cosby out. And I don't even know if Mary Cosby understands what's happening in the show.
I don't think she knows like what's happening. She's like, yeah, I like Monica. She's pretty. Like, why wouldn't I like Monica? Like, she is just so out of it. And then she's like, yeah, and I do like Angie. She's like, hate Meredith, hate you, like hate. But yeah, I mean, she doesn't even know her own son is like married and doing drugs in her home. So like,
but see, and that's the thing. That's tragic. And the thing is, you know, we've talked about it on the show about Mary's son is going through some really hard stuff. And that's how you know Mary is really only there for comedic relief in a sense, because they won't touch that stuff with her son. I don't imagine.
Nor would see her grandpa husband anymore. Like he
hid the kid. The kid has his girlfriend living with them. They hide from her. Everybody hides from Mary, and then Mary winds up in a closet every scene.
Yeah, exactly. Like.
So where do you stand? And have you had any interactions on your account blocked by Jax with any of the Salt Lake ladies over these last couple of weeks?
I haven't. Monica follows me though. I was
she follows me too. Yeah.
That Reality Von Teese didn't follow me. I wasn't thrilled.
Reality Von Teese followed me. I remember that account from a couple of years ago, Jennifer, when they would post the Jen Shaw videos, but I still don't remember what they were posting about any of the other ladies. I thought it was all Jen Shaw related. And I kind of was like, these videos are horrible, but I still don't know why the other ladies were so scared of her. That's the one thing piece that's missing.
I feel like I remember that being more like Jen central too, which I guess like Monica was saying was the whole point, was to like expose Jen Shaw. But I guess I don't remember reading anything that crazy about any of the other ladies, even though they were like in fear of this account. Like I don't remember reading anything that bad about them ever.
Yeah, but by the way, amazing television. The finale was amazing. The reunion's good. But are you like me where it's hard to wait each week for a new episode of the reunion? I wish they all had them 1 week.
I know, because I feel like the first part is always never that great. Like you're just kind of getting all the other shit out of the way. And like everything we see in the trailer is obviously going to be in like the third part. But I thought it was a good first reunion because I feel like the first parts usually kind of are boring, but like at the end, like obviously they left off in a good spot, but it is so hard to wait a week. I just want
I want all of it now. And then, so Meredith too, what's interesting is that you have this core issue with Monica and the rest of the ladies, But like, you know, in your real life, Jennifer, you probably have a good group of girlfriends. Do you guys treat each other like the ladies in Salt Lake or any of the housewives? Because I think the ladies always say we are, at the end of the day, hardcore friends. But I just don't know friend groups that, like, even in this reunion, you had Meredith arguing with Whitney and Lisa. You had Whitney and Lisa arguing. You had all of these different combinations, and they all seem to want to make each other's lives miserable. Is your friends group like that at all?
No, and it's funny because last night before we saw Mean Girls, we got dinner, and before dinner I checked everyone's location and they were all at a bar really close to me. And I was like, "What?" And I like sent a screenshot of their locations all together. And then I got to dinner like a little bit after them and I was like, "How was your pregame, everyone?" Like, fuck you. Like, and I like was joking, obviously, but I feel like that is like the extent of like our fighting. Like, we don't fight.
Yeah, you're
And
not starting a burner account to like talk shit about your friends.
right, like you guys all went to a pregame, and now I'm going to start an account where I just fucking ruin all of you.
I'm going to go into your past and start bringing things up. Well, I will. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but I do.
Darkest secret you told me, I'm going to post that on blog.
Exactly. Time to go to a Reddit thread. Okay, so the other thing that's, well, I do want to, you kind of just burned yourself because you just admitted to having a dinner and then also eating a bunch of young kids' popcorn at the movie theater.
Oh, you'll have to repeat that. It went out.
Oh, did you? You froze. I said you went to dinner and you ate those young kids' popcorn directly after it at the movie theater.
Yes, I did.
Wow, that's brave. 2024. What a year so far.
New year, same me. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so also before we get off Salt Lake, it's like Meredith has a hard time admitting fault in anything. You really see the lawyer come out and she'll be like, "Andy, I didn't say that exactly. Let me read you what I said." And it's like, Meredith, those are veiled threats that you're saying about the husband, but she'll never admit it. It's wild.
Yeah, she's like, "I wasn't talking about her marriage. I was talking about her husband." And it's like,
that's
the
you mean the guy in the marriage.
Like, God damn it. Like, same thing.
Oh, sorry, you cut out again. Okay, I just marked that.
You keep cutting out too.
But can you hear me for the most part? Hello? Can you hear me? Jennifer?
Yeah, it keeps cutting out.
Hey, is there sound in the background? Do you have the TV on?
Yeah, but it's on mute.
Oh, for some reason I was hearing voices, but maybe that's just in my head. Okay. Well, I'll cut all this out. Okay. So Meredith can't accept defeat ever, and I find that interesting. I still think there's great relationships, even if Monica doesn't come back. I just feel like it would be such a waste to have this kind of storyline and not have her come back. Is there anything else that you're hearing behind the scenes?
She needs to come back. The one person I wouldn't care if we... Like, Monica's not even my issue. I want her to come back. Whitney, I cannot stand anymore.
Wait, why?
I think she just reaches for anything. Like, getting mad at Lisa for, like, not checking in on her and, like, dragging that over 3 episodes. And then saying that, like, Heather exploited her, like, in her book. And, like, all she said was, like, paint me like one of your French girls. Or, like, something like that.
That was reaching. But I feel like she's trying to, I feel like she's almost there to being like a fully perfect housewife. It's just that she does kind of reach for those things like Heather's book, but she actually created a great fight where Heather Gay had to run away from Whitney and said, "I just need to have a think. I just need to have a think right now." She was telling the producer, "I just need to have a think."
Like, I don't know. I feel like for me, she tries too hard. That's what
She definitely does try too hard, but I understand what she's trying to do. But I also think it's like, what I think it is too is the voice. I think the voice really like doesn't do her justice because, you know, she had a great moment when she was like, "Heather, fuck off. Like, fuck off, Heather." Like, and it was like, "Fuck off, Heather. Shut the fuck up, Heather." And I thought it was such a great moment with her tiny voice. I don't know. I want the best for Whitney. I want the best for all of them. I just think that Heather, what is your take on Heather?
So I was like a huge Heather fan.
Me too.
Seasons 1 and 2. Like, loved her. Then season 3 and Ultimate Girls Trip just made me like go do a 180 with her. Like, I really was so sick of her. I was so sick of the black eye thing. And I think that's like what really just made me turn on her. Like, she blocked me now. Like,
When she unfollowed me, but she blocked you.
Blocked me. And like, now I like her more.
Because she blocked you?
Oh yeah, she did block me, but now I like her more.
Oh, I thought you were like, she blocked me, so now I respect her. Like, once she blocked me, it's like, she's playing hard to get. I like that. I like that. She's a bad boy.
I know. No, I'm starting to like her again more. This season, she kind of redeemed herself. I thought she was insufferable in Thailand, but
she was. And I think also that's a part of her being such a big fan of Housewives. And she's not
she was
fully
like the fucking worst.
Yeah, she's not fully insane like some of the other ladies are.
But it's like with Whitney.
Well, I mean, she thinks she's Queen Bee, and I think that can lead to dangerous things. And I think she has more Lisa Rinna in her than people know.
Oh my God, Lisa Rinna. Been a minute for that name.
So, well, I mean, like Heather, I think is going to run this whole town in this season, and I'm going to be interested to see if the power gets to her head, because I feel like when she gets complimented, it does go to her head. So I'm really curious what these next 2 episodes are. And those speeches were so delivered in a certain way that she knew she was making good housewife moments. And we're all like, I mean, listen, the government used the screenshots timeline. They used that in a government hearing this week. Like, that's going to get to your head.
I know. Like, now she's going to be like, oh my God, like pop culture is me. Like,
exactly.
Because like she's right. Like, it is.
Yeah. Well, in this moment, but what's so refreshing is coming off of Scandival, it's really nice to have something else that people are really paying attention to in regards to Bravo, you know?
Finally, I know. Like that and Southern Charm, I feel like have been really good segues away from Scandival. Like, finally. I mean,
these shows are all good. Like Southern Charm had the reunion this week, and I thought, like, to me, I enjoyed this reunion more than even the Salt Lake reunion. What did you think of this reunion?
The reunion, Taylor. Oh my God! Like,
explain Taylor to me as a woman. Like, what is she doing? Because she can't seem to make a right decision to save her life.
She is such a fucking dingbat. Like, I cannot take it. She's so like, she totally thought she had Olivia at the end. And it just
explain to the audience. So this is a spoiler alert. Olivia at the end, Taylor goes, forgive like you want to be forgiven. And Olivia was like, oh, really? You're going to do that? You're trying to make me feel guilty of something I just told you, one person on the earth? Go ahead. Tell them what I did. And Olivia feels like she is forced to say that when she was like 20 years old, she had a one-night stand with a family friend who turns out to be the one, the only Thomas Ravenel. And she said, I was going to carry that secret to my grave because, of course, anybody would be ashamed of it.
Who wouldn't?
And then Taylor had a smirk on her face. Taylor had a smirk. Explain, what is Taylor doing this season?
Oh my God. Someone from Southern Hospitality DM'd me at the start of Southern Charm because like I immediately kind of started going in on Taylor, and they were like, you know, her brother just died a couple months ago. Like, we need to not rip her apart online. And I was like, no, not gonna do that.
Sorry, I'm sorry for your loss, but no.
What?
Well, by the way, Taylor is dating somebody affiliated with the Southern Hospitality cast now.
Right. And like, I was willing to maybe give her a break, but I feel like the behavior just got worse and worse and worse each week. Like, to the point where I'm like, who the fuck would date her? How does she have friends? Like, how? I don't understand.
Well, you can really tell she dated Shep. Like, it feels like a lot of like stuff that Shep would say or do, but it works differently on Shep because I feel like it's like, how he naturally is. But I feel like Taylor, this is some of it's like learned behavior from, and I'm not trying to take away her agency, but I am saying it's very interesting that they sound eerily similar when they speak now.
Right. And it's like, and it's ridiculous because I think all the guys keep being like, oh, well, you know what? She's so young. Like, she's like 30 or 29. Like, she's not 19 where it's like, okay, yeah, you're still learning. Like, you're an adult. And I don't know. Oh my God. Like, I think she's just so cringy. And I'm sure, like, I think Shep has a very large part to do with it. But she has a new relationship now and everything, and she's still getting worse somehow. Like,
I mean, yeah, I was, but then on the same token, I'm fully behind Olivia. Like, Olivia is like kind of, and by the way, that's like making a mistake when you're young. Olivia making that with Thomas Ravenel, she's 20. Like, that's a mistake. We've all potentially hooked up with somebody that we regret after the fact. Like, that is very normal, but to use it against somebody as ammunition, I mean, I think that was wild to do to somebody on national television. And it almost makes me feel even worse for Olivia, which this whole season I felt bad for her. I mean, but where do you think in terms of Austin, that relationship with Olivia and Austin, because I think it comes out next week that they were like still not hooking up, but like hanging out and friends. Like, why is she still able to forgive Austin, but not able to forgive Taylor, do you think?
I know. And I think like I've heard her talk about this on a couple of podcasts. And I would like to say first, the real victim in this Thomas Ravenel thing is her parents. Imagine fucking having to hear that now.
Like, oh, God.
Like, ew. I would die if my parents had to hear that. But she was saying that, like, and I do not want Austin to have a free pass by any means, but like, you don't expect this from your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, if one of my friends did this to me with my boyfriend, like, I would be like, fuck him, never speaking to him again. Like, but the real betrayal for me, I feel like, would be my friends. And that would be so much harder for me to get over. And like, that's why I think, like, and I don't think she's giving Austin like a free pass, but like, he's the worst. Like, everyone knows.
Like, so you're saying she's already written him off as the worst. So in that knowledge, she can still be friendly with him because she already knows he's the worst. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but like, if I was in that position, I wouldn't be friendly with him.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only way that she's able to, is like, you know what? Fuck you. You're disgusting. Like, always kind of thought you were. And now Taylor is, but like, I don't think she ever in a million years expected that from Taylor.
Yeah, I didn't expect it from Taylor either. And I really thought at some point, like, how many times will you apologize to someone and say, that's it? Like, what is your number on apologies? If you've done something wrong to one of your friends, what's the number for you? What's that magic number where you're like, I'm done apologizing?
I think I have to feel it off more of like, but I mean, like,
for Taylor, it's 4. For Taylor, it's 4 apologies and she's done. I've done it 4 times. I'm done.
I think with Taylor, like, now, like, Olivia had to watch it back and everything. And you see Taylor apologize. And then 5 minutes later, she's in the car, like, I don't have to apologize. Like, I didn't do anything. So, like, it's so different in their situation to have to go back and watch that. Because, like, Taylor is truly, like, the dumbest piece of shit I've ever seen. Like,
so you don't think there's coming back from this? I mean, she'll definitely be back on next season, but you don't think it's hard to come back from?
I think it's hard to come back because she has no accountability. She just like said that Thomas Ravenel's secret, like on the reunion. Obviously, they're going to air that. They're not going to cut that out. And I also was like thinking during the reunion, like what her boyfriend must think watching that, because she like lit up when Shep was like, I think we can marry now. Like, she was like, like a meerkat. They come out like.
Well, imagine being Taylor's boyfriend and then everybody after going, wow, if Shep really does sober up and turn his life around, he's definitely getting married to Taylor. That was like the big comment.
I know. And Shep's like, yes. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, speaking of that, you just brought up Shep, and Shep actually had this big segment of the show, mea culpa, he called it, where he talked about his behavior. He talked about his behavior at BravoCon, which I saw firsthand, and he really was blackout. Like, I mean, and when I saw him at the Bravo Awards, you could tell, like, you could tell Craig and Austin were trying to like chill him out, but he was, and that was Friday night. You still had 2 more days to go at BravoCon, and he was like, I thought he was just on mushroom. Like, I was like, oh, this guy's on something else, not just alcohol, because he had that, you know, I don't know. He just had that, like, yeah, life's an adventure kind of look, you know? And then
Right.
I heard it got worse and worse and worse, and that he was blackout. He was being really, he was saying a lot of derogatory things to dealers at tables in Vegas, to people that he was around. He slapped Taylor's ass, but he apologized for all of this. And he also said, listen, my lifestyle is not conducive. And he said, this is the first time in my life that I thought anybody would say this. He's like, you and Austin have a podcast. Like he said that, like, I wish I had a podcast. I was like, yeah, podcast is not your problem. Like, you don't need to want to have a podcast, dude. That's not what it is. But he said, Craig has his pillows. And you almost felt bad for this man who had been, partying until the wheels came off and realizing that he might be at the end of that rope or that road. And Craig said, listen, man, ends with you going off a cliff, and we're not going to go there for it. What did you think of this whole segment?
So, like, I wasn't at BravoCon because I'm too poor, but I did tell my CEO I'm going this year. But
in advance,
I had gotten DMs that he was like an absolute nightmare, like running around, like clearly blackout, wasted, like just being really obnoxious to like attendees, like and fans and whatnot, and like was leaving his phone everywhere, which I would have taken and gone through. And but my favorite part of his whole thing was like, I don't even do body shots anymore. Like,
what if body shots were your problem? Like, you got to chill on the body shots,
to take
dude.
Me seriously now. I don't even do body shots anymore. Like that. Like, guys, listen.
We remember when Schwartz would say, "I'm only doing half shots." Like, right. I don't do full shots. I do half shots now.
And like, I did feel bad for him because I always had kind of like an inkling that all of his friends were kind of moving on and doing things without him. And during COVID, I think I even made a post like, wow, wonder how Shep feels. Like they all go to Winter House, they go have podcasts, like all this other stuff. And he's just kind of left behind. But then like while I'm working, I always just play like old Bravo on Peacock. And I was doing Southern Charm like a couple of weeks ago. And he's so awful to them. Like he was so mean to
He picked on Craig. He picked on Craig mercilessly.
Oh my God, like was awful to him about like being a lawyer and then like the sewing and just was so like, I don't want to say karma, but like karma.
Well, that's why it's interesting to see how like tables turn. And like, if you really, and that's what like, I hate to keep kissing Craig's ass, but I will say like for somebody that like sat there and go, I barely drink anymore. I realize I want to do all of these other things. And, there was something very, that I realized, like I've had these conversations with my friends where the one person says, I miss, I miss those times. I miss those blackout times. It's like, yeah, of course you miss it sometimes, but what you don't miss is the wild hangovers the next day. What you don't miss is and I was sharing with the audience on Friday, like I had gotten blackout in July, and it was something that I was ashamed of still to this day. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm too old for this shit. What am I doing? And it was just a really horrible moment. And it was kind of sad to watch that realization. But what scares me is, do you think Shep will do anything about this?
So I don't think he will. And honestly, like, I feel like the only reason he hasn't done anything with his life, really, like compared to the other people, like I feel like Kim Kardashian, where she's like, if you had a project you were passionate about, then you would like to her
get up your ass and work.
But like he doesn't have anything. He's like Craig had sewing, Austin had his beer. Like they all like he has mailbox money. Like I don't think he's ever taken an interest.
That's what I'm saying. There's no need for him to try anything new, right? Because he's going to be okay financially regardless. And so you see where that leaves him. It leaves him with this kind of lack of desire. So he always put that off on, I'll go be an adventurer. I'll be an Anthony Bourdain type.
Right. And like, I don't think he'll change, because did you notice his face when Vanita was like, you need to, like, I thought you were going to say you're going to like rehab or like going to go get help or something. And he just looked so pissed. Like, why would you suggest that? Like in front of everyone. Now I actually have to go do something about it. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to change that much. I think he probably went out in the city that night and like.
Well, that's what I was wondering, like what they did after that reunion. And I think we have 2 more parts. But even Madison in that little scene was just like, wait, I thought he was going to go to rehab. Like they all seemed very aware of this. And like he must have thought about rehab or said it and then called that off. But that's the thing is like if
Yeah,
Shep
he's like,
really
nope, the
actually put his
announcement is
shit
just that
together,
I'm aware.
he could
I'm not
really
doing anything.
like
I
he
just
could
want
have
you all
like
to know I'm aware.
what's that? What'd you say, Jennifer? You cut out.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Wait, what did you say? Yeah, I can hear you now, but what did you say? I heard aware.
Oh, I was saying that I think like his whole announcement was not like I'm changing. It was like I just want you all to know that I'm aware I'm like this.
But if he actually
Doesn't mean
did
I'm
put work
used to
in, he could have a great like I think if he put work in, he could really like Craig is like the best example of that. Like he is I mean, for me, he is saying all the only thing bad about Craig is that you think he probably is at the end of the day an election denier. He probably is
Right.
somebody that they he probably is he's probably like he's a tinfoil hat guy, which I think we all laugh at, but I'm like he probably really goes down those roads, and I think that's kind of funny about Craig.
I 100% do, which always cracks me up because I feel like Paige is so the opposite of that. Like I want to like hear them have a conversation about that one day.
Oh, I mean, I gotta say,
where he's
I want more Paige Craig conversations to see how that dynamic works because it really does seem like Craig wants so much love all the time and he wants to let her know that he's okay with not getting as much love, but he says that in order to try to get more love. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
He wants her love so badly, and I know she loves him, but I think he wants all of it. And I think, but isn't that what girls want though? Is a guy that is desperately into them?
Like yes and no. I feel like I don't know. If like my boyfriend was like that all the time, I feel like it would be nice sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah, well,
like I would need
you would need all of it. You would need
I wouldn't want it all the time. I would.
Yeah. What do you think of JT? What do you think of JT?
Oh my God. The desperation of him. Like, I think he's funny. I thought he was really funny at the reunion with like all of his little side remarks. And like, it was so refreshing to have someone actually say to Austin, like, you are a douchebag. You are a fuck boy. All of these girls are upset because of you. But like the Taylor thing just makes him like he could be one of my favorite people in Southern Charm, but his obsession with Taylor ruins it.
But yeah, his infatuation and like everything she does, he finds a way to put a positive spin on it. Like even with that Thomas Ravenel, I can't wait to hear what he says of like, hey, listen, man, she's addicted to telling the truth. She's got to tell her story, man. Like you know, like, and there is, cause he's so good at like pinning Austin down when nobody else pins Austin down. And you can tell Shep loves it. You can tell Craig gets a kick out of it. But then on the other side of it, and also he is so in love with Taylor, but at the same time, probably at the end of the day, he's a fuckboy too, probably.
Right. But it's just so funny because he's like getting on Austin for hooking up with Taylor as if he wouldn't do that in a second to Shep.
Oh my God.
Like,
yes, 1,000%. Like he's begged for it.
Oh, he's like, can you believe your friend did that? Meanwhile, he's like, Taylor, I am obsessed with you. Like but actually, Austin DM'd me again since the last time we talked.
He did?
And
what did he say?
Yeah, so I posted a story. This was like on Christmas Eve. And I was like
Christmas Eve.
Austin was like going off on everyone in Jamaica, like calling Madison a housewife, like saying all that shit.
A bored housewife.
And it was a screenshot of him telling JT to go drown himself in the ocean. And I wrote on it and was like, the shit Austin is saying to everyone is so gross. Like, he is trash. And he DM'd me and he goes, I can't wait to meet you one day. LOL. And I go, hopefully not near an ocean. And he goes, for fear of drowning yourself? I go, for fear of someone talking to me like that. And he goes, that little rat deserves every last bit of it.
I like that Austin's very Meredith Marks in the DMs. He's like, it's a veiled threat. I cannot wait to meet you one day.
Happy holidays.
How many Trop Pops have you drank tonight, bud? But by the way, supposedly Austin's with I think Austin has a girlfriend now.
Yeah, I saw that someone posted like at their live thing, like the pillows and beer or whatever, that he said he's dating someone. Like, I need to know who would subject themselves to.
Well, and will they be on the show then next season?
Right. And like, do you have cable or Peacock? Like, clearly you don't.
You know what? You're one of the only people that stands strong and you're like, is calling it as it is. Because I think as a Bravo fan base, we are so quick to forget all the shit that we've ever talked. Like we do it with Erica Jane this season. Like she's cleared Denise easily because anybody could clear Denise in a fight easily. And they're like, oh my God, she's back. Oh my God, she's back. Like, dude, Denise is on horse tranquilizers or like elephant tranquilizers. Anybody could have an argument with Denise and win. And they're like, that's the fire that she was missing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys are insane.
I know. Like, I feel like, yeah, I don't really go back on the thoughts I have about everyone. I thought the episode without her this week was one of my favorites so far of the season. I did not miss her at all. I'm not saying she should leave the show, but like, I just didn't care that she was gone. Like with Austin, when he DMs me, I'm not like, oh no, like, sorry, I was just saying that. I'm like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Like, I do not care.
Oh, wait, real quick before I go to Beverly Hills, though, I do want to say, I am hearing there are people pushing for potentially Thomas Ravenel to come back to the show. Would you, even though we all hate, this is what I had said. I said, well, listen, the fan base really hates him, but it might make for good television. Where do you stand on that with him? If that were to happen?
I feel like if that were to happen, I just don't know like where his place would be anymore. I feel like without all the Catherine stuff and like I don't know if there's room for him. Like Shep's the creepy old guy now. Like we can't have two creepy old men.
I love that there's a hierarchy of creepy old men, and now Shep has hit the. If Shep cleans up his act, we might have a spot for Thomas Ravenel.
That's true. If Shep like takes it down a notch, like we could have Thomas come back. But right now, Shep's the degenerate old drunk.
Okay.
And I feel like the kids are just like older too. Like I don't know if that would be like the best for them since he has like full custody, I guess.
I mean, but I would be interested to hear what Thomas Ravenel says to Olivia's face or to even the rest of the Southern Charm cast, because this guy, I mean, that's gross. He probably was with Catherine at the time or in between being with her. That is a family friend. She was very young. He was obviously like at that point 30 years older than her. I mean,
it's so gross. I think of like my parents' family friends and like, ew. Like, I would have to be like tranquilized to like partake in that. Like that's
the scene I want to see. I want to see the scene of Olivia's parents like talking about like Olivia's parents with Thomas.
Oh my God, that would be a great scene. I would love that. Oh my God.
So that's something to look out for potentially. Yeah. She was wearing a skirt. She was wearing a skirt just hit below her knees. That was too. Oh my God.
I could so picture him.
Okay, so moving on to Beverly Hills. What do you think overall of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills this season? What do you think overall?
I like it. And honestly, I think it's so much better without Lisa Rinna. Like 100%. Noticeably better. She's so toxic. Like, I feel like it's just lighter now. And like they actually have fun together too, instead of just constant like toxicity and like yelling at each other. Like I feel like it's just like a fresh start almost, like without Lisa. And I feel like Erica has no choice now but to be nicer because she lost like her partner in crime. And I just think it is so much better without her that
Wait, Jennifer,
I'm actually enjoying it.
Crime. Wait, partner in crime, you mean Lisa Rinna, not Tom Girardi, her other partner in crime, right?
Not her literal partner in
Not
crime,
a
but
partner in crime. No, I agree with you, but I do think it has the disservice of being aired the night after Salt Lake, and Salt Lake was so good, and it had that one storyline that I think, in comparison, it's hard to compare the two. But I feel like I really like it, but it's uneven in the sense that Kyle is going through so much. And we had the death of her friend, the death of her marriage, the beginning of this Morgan Wade special friendship. And she is trying everything in her power to throw like the ball somewhere else, and the ball keeps landing on her lap because there are so many unanswered questions about Kyle. Now, I mean, Morgan Wade at this like celebration of life for Lorene this past week, which was a really beautiful thing, but then Morgan Wade sings a song about like, throw me down on the floor and take my clothes off. Like what?
heels like
Yeah, it was like a sexy song that I think was about Kyle. Do you do that song at a celebration of life, even though Morgan Wade has a beautiful voice? But if you listen to those lyrics, it's kind of sexy.
Oh yeah, like Kyle, the second it started, Kyle was like, like all the alerts went off and she like ran to the stage, like, and I mean, it was like a sexy song. Like one line I remember was like, "You're older than me." Like
maybe it was about Thomas Ravenel, the song.
I know, right? I'm like, what does this have to do with the cause? Like,
Lorene's poor mom is like, Kyle, this was beautiful. What was that all about? Are you okay? What is going on? Well, and Kyle just celebrated her birthday this past week, and Mauricio, he only did like a story in his Instagram of like, happy birthday, Kyle. So I think that is, I mean, I think that's donezo. I mean, they'll always be like, they'll always be family, but I think that is done. And like at this point, like Andy was collecting questions for the reunion, and I sent one in saying, hey, Kyle, do you understand why we actually speculate so much about your relationship? Because between the scenes that we see, the paparazzi photos, the music video that you directed, how we actually see your general behavior, would you understand why the audience actually thinks that this might be a little something more? Because it feels like it is teased even by you as something more than just a friendship. Am I wrong to even ask that? I know that sometimes like we don't want to speculate on people's sexuality, but I got to tell you, it really does come off like more than friends. And I don't care. Like, I really honestly don't care. But where do you stand on all this?
Right. Like, I feel like in this situation, she wants us to speculate. Like, the show wants us to speculate also. Like, even her friends in their confessionals are like, they're really close. Like, oh my God. Like, she was eating fruit from her mouth.
Freddie seems panicked. Freddie Fat Knuckles seems panicked. Freddie Mellencamp, who, by the way, admitted that she has fat knuckles in this past week's episode and seemed very jealous that they were feeding each other fruit. Freddie was like, Tamara doesn't do this with me.
She was like livid. I feel like Kyle must know. I mean, we know she knows, but like the way that she acts on the show and the confessionals that people are having and the music video, like she's feeding into it.
Yes. But like admit that you're
giving us
let us know that you're
real.
Well, let us know that you're doing that on purpose or not. But like what it reads is that then you're shocked that the audience thinks these things when you've been feeding that beast the entire time.
Right. And it's like, I feel like at the end of the day, no one gives a shit if she is a lesbian or dating Morgan. It's like all of these clues and things are piling up and it's like, just admit it. Like, just say, yes. Like, you know what?
Well, is there a possibility? Like, I don't know if you ever had this kind of relationship in high school. Like, I remember having one of these where like I had a crush on like one of my girlfriends and I was like, nobody tell her, because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to, and she won't be my friend if she doesn't like me. And like, what if Kyle's like, no, I can't admit it to her because she won't want to hang out with me anymore? Like, what if Kyle is doing all of these things, hoping that Morgan will make the first move and because she's afraid of losing the friendship? Like, I don't know. I was trying to think of realistically what this could be. And also then if it is a relationship, when is Kyle going to feel comfortable enough to let us know, the audience, because I feel like she's been soft launching this for 6 months now.
Right. I wonder if she's waiting for there to be like an official divorce since like they're separated. But I mean, like, Mo was in Aspen doing body shots with like 19-year-olds.
Anita, yeah,
So
I mean, not a great look either. Yeah.
this might be the time to like just sign the divorce papers. You're both so over it, clearly. But it's funny because like I do not act the way she acts with Morgan with my girlfriends at all. And like I have friends who are lesbians and like I don't I treat them the same way as like my straight friend. Like I'm not flirty with that.
She gets
And
giddy. She gets downright giddy.
She gets giddy. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
and
Morgan's
I think it's
like,
cute. I think it's
y'all.
fun.
She's like,
yeah. Oh, you're so fun.
like it is
Kyle,
cute.
I just walked in. I don't know what I did. That's so funny, but you're always laughing at me, Kyle.
I love Julie with like the subtle shade. She's like, yeah, Morgan like stuck out, but she's really nice.
It's so weird.
We get it, Julie. You're jealous.
Oh, I mean, Dorit. That's another Dorit. But Dorit also let us know this episode. She's like, I remember Morgan from 2 years ago, but that was Mauricio was there. And I didn't realize Morgan was involved with Kyle for that long. I didn't realize 2 years ago they were hanging out.
It's funny. My boyfriend's sister works for a very high-end designer. And
Old Navy?
Oh my God, like a year. Yeah, Marshalls. And for like, oh my God, like right around Halloween, like November maybe, so a little over a year ago, she told me that she saw Kyle at the store. And she's like, I think she was with like her assistant or something. She was like, it was a very tattooed woman. She's like, there's no way they're friends. Like this woman was like really country tattooed. She thought it was her assistant. And
wow,
it was Morgan.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they've been in each other's lives for a long time
no one
now,
knew anything
which I
about
think is really interesting. What do you think about Dorit and PK's relationship? We had the therapist scene this week of like, I don't understand your putsta, your PTSD. Sometimes it's too much. What do you think of PK and Dorit this season?
I mean, first of all, him answering the door and getting pizza on the way to get the door.
It's classic PK. I want some crisps. I want some crisps.
Dorit, I was on my way. I was going to get the dog. Like,
I was famished. I didn't have the strength to get the door, Dorit. Please.
And I love how he's having a beer too during the therapy session. It's funny because like Dorit's like, I used to be a big Dorit fan. She's kind of annoying me this season because like everyone else has to get over things so quickly, but it's okay for her to harp on something for years and years to come. And I think PK's just like he doesn't want the kids to be homeschooled. He wants them to go to like real school, which I get. Like he's just over it. He's like, let's move on. And I get like I've never been in a burglary or anything like that, so I can't imagine how hard it is. But like she brings it up any chance she gets. Like someone will be like, Merry Christmas, and she'd be like, I had a home invasion. Like he constantly brings it up, which I think can get old really quick.
I mean, it is hard for a couple, like a real life couple, to keep having to go back and delve into these things that you want to push forward. So I think in a typical guy fashion, he's like, enough already. I'm done with this. But I do feel bad for Dorit, though, because all of the ladies all kind of make fun of her because she overtalks, she talks too much. And then even her husband's like, get over it already. I'm done. I'm done with all of this. Sometimes I think it's just, sometimes I get it, but sometimes I don't. And also, who fucking hugs their they're all hugging their therapist. I do not hug my therapist. Like, is that like everybody's like they're too friendly with this therapist?
I know they are, but I was like dying too at the fact he's like, she hates the surprises, but then during the surprise, she's like, where's my tanning drops? Where's my like Chanel biscuit? Like,
I need Beverly Beach bronzer. Beverly Beach bronzer.
Where is it? I don't have it. This surprise sucks. Like, but then when she started talking baby talk to him, and got like in the same chair as like he was like, "You're annoying," and she was like, "Oh, PK."
Oh, bad, please. Okay, and then finally on Beverly Hills, why do you think Annamarie Wy is such a flop? Or do you like her? I think she is the biggest flop. By the way, like if Monica Garcia is one and done, she's like a legendary one and done. But Annamarie Wy I don't even understand what they're doing here with her. Did they like cut her part way down? Because it's embarrassing at this point.
I think they did cut her part because weren't there like allegations about her husband? Like
yeah, that came out around the holidays.
Someone?
Yeah, there was like college allegations. On top of going into the season, we knew Annamarie Wy had some very strong opinions, I believe, about the trans community, if I'm not mistaken, and some really certain belief systems that I thought, oh, that's going to be kind of dangerous with these ladies. And I don't know if that ever came up or not, but even going in, I had heard some things, but even then she's just not entertaining. Like she like keeps fighting about Sutton's esophagus.
For someone holding a diamond, she is doing nothing. I'd get it more if she was like promoted as like a friend of instead of a full-time cast member, because she's doing absolutely nothing. But I got this screen grab of her the other day. Look at her fucking arm. Can you see? Like
she's ripped.
She is jacked.
She's jacked.
And like that's really all I care about anymore is her arm, because I'm over.
Dude, at this point, she's gonna. What if she needs to get in the ring with Santos, Sutton's horse, because Santos is like, I'm tired of you talking about my owner's esophagus, and you know, she's like, come on, let's go. Like that would be an amazing boxing match because I feel like they're at the same strength level.
But it's just like so bizarre how she keeps bringing it up. Like Crystal was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
And then she's trying to backtrack. She's like, I didn't say anything about it. And Crystal's like,
which one of those things that she must have thought that was like a fire conversation. Like, oh, if all else fails, I'll bring up the esophagus again because that is gold material. Like she must think that is like awesome.
Right. At this point, bring Kim back because Kim is getting more airtime.
Dude, Kim, by the way, I want to see Kim color on her walls with her crayons and magic markers. I want her to color on other people's walls.
Yeah, and her scarf that has like tissues, like a family of rats living in it. Like,
okay, so that's Beverly Hills. And then I wanted to talk about, we have you for like 15 more minutes, Summer House trailer. The Summer House trailer dropped, and we finally got our first look at the dissolution of the Carl Lindsay engagement. What were your thoughts about the Summer House trailer?
So I think it was interesting because Carl really has like not said anything about the breakup yet. Like Lindsay's gone on podcasts. She like has made statements. Like Carl really hasn't done anything except like that one email that got leaked where like about the Mexico resort.
About refunding or trying to refund the money or something. Yeah.
Right. Like make a vacation. And so I feel like it was interesting to see like his point of view, because I do look at it a little bit differently now, but I also just will never forgive him for calling production to break up with her. I feel like no matter what happens, like the fact that he called production to come for his breakup was so fucked up.
Yeah. And then in the trailer, though, we see him go, oh, she's going to go in there and say she was blindsided. And then we cut to Lindsay telling her dad, I was blindsided. And I will say, like you said, I do give Carl credit that he kind of disappeared because he didn't pull a Tom Sandoval and do like a karaoke band and travel the world. Like he just kind of disappeared. And I think he's going to let the show do the talking for him, which will be interesting. And I will say, I'm not defending Carl at all, but everybody that had interactions with him at BravoCon, they always been like, he was so apologetic. He was so sorry. He feels so bad. Like all of these people would like have these conversations with Carl at BravoCon. And I've had some conversations with Lindsay. And I just still think it's horrifying that, you know, that actually gets put out on television, even though it's going to be amazing to watch. But what did you think about the rest of the trailer, like the new cast members and such like that?
So I completely forgot that Sierra was even like in the Bravoverse until this trailer came out. Like I was like, oh yeah, like where's she been? Like what is she up to? And like completely forgot about her.
Yeah, because she wasn't in Winter House this season.
Right, and I feel like she also just doesn't make that much of like a buzz while she's not like while her show isn't airing. And so like it was interesting for her, and I also like her comment about like Amanda having a life outside of Kyle or like an identity outside of him. It was interesting because I feel like in Bravo, at least, Amanda doesn't have that much of an identity outside of Kyle. I think in the real world, like she probably does, but like on the shows, she's not like a drama person. Like she's not a shit stirrer, really. Like she's just kind of there. So that was interesting, I think, for one of her like really good friends to say. I'd be pissed.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you there. I think Amanda is one of those characters that probably has a pretty full life that we don't see on the show. And the show is actually kind of what gets Loverboy out there. And I will say, Amanda's responsible for all those Loverboy designs, all the hats, all the shirts, all the stuff, which is actually extremely successful. But I think it's interesting. And also I think it's interesting for Sierra to say that, who doesn't even seem to have that much of a personality by herself on the show. Like the biggest moments for Sierra was with Austin. Like those were the Austin moments were the biggest time where I was like, oh shit, Sierra's really growing into this role. And I'll be interested to see what happens this season, though the trailer doesn't really tease anything out except for one of the new guys wanting to hook up with her potentially.
Right. Like that's always her thing is like, it was with like that with Corey last year. Like she was like, ooh, who's this?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that, like she's so boring. The new guys, I guess like one of them it looked like was hitting hardcore on Paige.
Which I'm kind of here for to have Craig. I would love it if Craig has to stand up to this guy of like, listen, dude, I'm a pillow king. You better back the fuck off.
You better back off.
I would be here for that, but like, yeah. Kyle calls this guy out for hitting on Paige, and we see a little bit of the hitting on, which I'm like, yeah, make dumb moves like that. That's good content.
I know, like, do it, please, more. Because I feel like the guys on Summer House, like, besides Luke, are really so far and few between. Like, they never stick. They never come back for a second.
Yeah, who was the guy? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. Who was the guy last season that didn't come back this season? I'm blanking his name. Chris. Yeah, what happened? I thought Chris was like, yeah, like so guys, Chris, Maya, and Sam are all gone. And I don't understand.
Sam wasn't.
Me too. And I was also kind of surprised that Corey wasn't on because I thought they were trying to break him into like the Summer House, Winter House pipeline. So I'm curious why they didn't choose Sam. Because I thought also that brought drama, especially after Winter House and seeing the Winter House reunion. I thought Sam was like golden. And, you know, like I love. I think they broke up too. I don't think there's been an official announcement, but I definitely think they broke up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they, but I liked her. I mean, I, if anything, I thought Sam would come back and Gabby not, but it was the other way around. Like Gabby's back.
I'm so curious, like how they do cast these shows, because every time, like I'm like, oh, this would make sense if they did this. They always go some complete opposite direction that I want to know why they chose to go that way. Because there must be a reason. Like there has to be reasons why they thought this would work. And you're right though. Like Luke was the best one I thought of all of these like random guys, and he even didn't stick. Like he's still not back.
Right. And then like Maya, like I was kind of surprised, like she wasn't really giving a lot of her personal life, which I think was her setback. Like her breakup with Oliver, she like, remember she was like trying to get him to take the mic off and like not talk about
fight. Do not talk. Yeah.
I was like, oh, you just got yourself kicked off. But so I get that. But yeah, like the Summer House casting is always interesting. None of the men stick around. Are like Carl and Lindsay seem like they're not full-time out there, right?
Yeah, from
like
what I hear, they do a lot of their scenes like without the rest of the group, because it's like planning their wedding and things like that. And then they will have group scenes, but I hear a lot of their stuff is by themselves, which will be even darker because it really does seem. But it seems like Lindsay is kind of oblivious to a lot of the issues that Carl thinks that they're dealing with. And so that's going to be really hard to watch.
Right. Like when they're at the house in that one scene, he's like, you accused me of like using drugs. And then she's like, he's a terrorist.
I mean, like, it really is wild. And the thing is, like, he knows how those other castmates have treated Lindsay in the past. So it's interesting. Like, I wonder if he's going to use that as his safe space of, you guys know how crazy she is. And I feel like that's wildly unfair to Lindsay. And I'm curious to see how people like Paige react, because Craig, even in like the press and all that, or like Watch What Happens Live, said, listen, you'll see, you know, like he seemed to like, I think he's walked it back since, but he seemed to be very pro Carl. And he's like, you'll see why they had to break up.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I see it more in the trailer now, just like those little moments. And then that priest is like, I wouldn't marry you too. Like,
I've married people since the dawn of age, and I would not marry you too. And that's with Carl's mom right there.
Christ would roll over in his grave if I married you too.
Oh God. If I was Lindsay, I would be losing I would be so bummed out to see that.
God. And you know, she watched that and was like, Reverend Smith, how dare you? Like, how dare you?
And then they put out these summer house photos, guys, like the promotional art. And the promotional art looks like it's created by artificial intelligence. It has Lindsay and Carl like laughing with each other, touching each other. It doesn't even look like they were all there in the same day, same location, but I guess they were. But like, it's the weirdest photo shoot I've seen.
Like, he gets to the stool. I know.
It's like so
Danielle's
weird.
Sitting on this much of the stool. I know.
Teeny tiny, like it makes no sense. So much so that I'm like, did you guys do it this weird so we would talk about it? Like, because like then we talked about how weird it was. Like, did you make it this weird so we would talk about something about it? Like, I feel like Craig Conover conspiratorial about this. Oh, okay, and finally, we're 2 weeks away from Vanderpump Rules season 11. Where are you at on? Are you exhausted of Scandival? Are you excited to have it back? Where is your emotions lying right now?
I feel like I'm never truly exhausted of Scandival. I mean, I'm really excited for it to come back. I just cannot stand Tom. Like, I don't think I'm going to feel bad for him at all this season. I think I'm still going to be like very team Ariana. I made a post that I think this is going to be Sheena's most Sheena-y Sheena yet. Like, this is going to be the most sheeniest Sheena we'll ever see.
I think it's going to be the most sheeniest Sheena of everybody. Like, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of success, or what we deem as success, has changed them in the span of a year. Because DJ James Kennedy thinks he's the number one guy in the group. You have Jax back at some point that will lead off into the Valley spinoff that is going to be on Bravo as well. You have all of these different people coming back into the fold, and you have supposedly Tom Sandoval trying to get a redemption season. And then I'm just curious about where's that shift going to be with Ariana, where people are like, it's enough already. It's enough. I've got cheated on and I didn't get all this.
Right. I mean, I feel like Ariana could do no wrong for me. Like, I love her. I've always loved her. And it's funny, I was watching like the marathon yesterday, and it was like the episode where Tom is going to Vegas and he's like, but we're going to ride bulldozers. And
that was such a, like, we should have known then. We should have known in that moment.
Like, the signs were there.
Because, by the way,
funny, I made my boyfriend watch.
And what did he say?
It was funny. It was like also the episode where James spits on Kristen's door, and he was like, God. Who the fuck is that?
That's DJ James Kennedy. Wait, did you listen to Raquel's podcast or Rachel's podcast?
I heard like the highlights. She has the worst public speaking voice I have ever heard in my entire life.
If you speed it up to 1.75, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's normal.
She's like, and then Tom kissed me in the pool.
Well, but there's good information. You just have to speed it up, because there's good information, and it really does. I kind of I'm not a fan of Rachel, obviously, but I do think it's kind of funny that it's going to poke holes in Tom's redemption season, where this was, I mean, it's wild to hear this story from that perspective, even though I'm ride or die team Ariana, but it's just wild to hear what was actually going on and her admitting like I was fucked up all the time. And even into therapy, like she's the only person that actually locked herself away and did work on herself. And none of like Tom didn't do that. Tom just like went on the road and did another season of like 3 shows.
Does Tom still have a podcast, by the way?
Yes,
I feel like
yeah.
I heard about it and like that. Did that fall off the earth?
No,
because,
it's
like,
still there. It's still there. Yeah, him and
like,
Schwartz does it a lot now. Well,
of course he does.
It's going to be interesting to see how all of this breaks down and what really. Are you going to go see Ariana on Broadway? Because I know you live in New York.
I am. I just got tickets.
Oh, really? When are you going?
February 3rd.
Okay,
Saturday.
well, let's hope you're sitting next to some girls that leave early and leave their popcorn behind at that as well. But that's awesome that you're going. Everybody go get tickets to Ariana doing Chicago on Broadway. She's playing Roxy Hart, which is the role that Erika Jayne, the legendary Erika Jayne, has done. So it'll be fun to see Ariana's correct spin on this.
Lisa Rinna too, as she wrote on that post.
Oh my God, you see that photo of Lisa Rinna and her nipples this week on Cosmopolitan?
Yes. Oh my God. Ew.
I almost stabbed my eyes out. It was like so intense. Anyways, Jennifer, thank you so much for doing this. I know you got to go. I could do this for hours with you. They count you guys. You already follow her, but she's so close to 100,000 right now. I want to get to her to 100,000 before the end of this month. So everybody follow at blocked_by_Jax. What are you going to do when you hit 100K? What is the big celebration?
Oh my God.
Probably just
I'll
nothing.
have like a night. How about that? I'll get blackout that night.
Get blackout. There we go. Get her to 100K so we can watch her adventures blacking out. But she
saying Shep is too old. And
by the way, for the 100K, she's going to hook up with Thomas Ravenel. Her boyfriend's giving her a pass, and it's going to be great. And thank you for laughing with us today. I really appreciate you doing this. You're one of my favorite guests. So, and guys, have a great rest of your week. And also watch Traders on Peacock. The first 3 episodes are out now. I really enjoy it. And there's a lot of Lars's in it with Marcus. And we didn't get to talk about Miami this week, but we will talk about all that stuff later this week. So Jennifer, Blocked by Jax, thank you for being here.